Hey everybody, welcome to week 10 of the NFL season. In this video, we're going to be going over our favorite bets that we're officially putting on the professional picks card in week 10. If you watch our video on Monday, you saw us saw me talk about the predictions for each game. And I talked about some bets I'm leaning towards that game, but now it's Thursday and we've got some more time to process information and key injuries. And so we take that information and compile that to our favorite bets and throw them on our card. If you're liking these bets and making money, like and subscribe to our page so we can keep helping you out, keep raising those units up, and definitely follow us on Instagram and Twitter at PrizePicks.
So just a quick shout out for our basketball page. Started my college basketball playlist for the Professional Picks channel. And my first two plays this last Tuesday, I had Duke Moneyline and Kansas -4.5. Those both hit, so 2-0 to start the year. And tonight, we actually have Villanova money line. You guys could check out that video I just released last night. But we're getting hot right now. Last week for football, we went 4-0.
Clean sweep, baby.
So you guys should definitely start looking at our picks, watching our videos. Now's the right time to start tailing us.
Yeah, you don't want to watch those videos and also follow us on Twitter, like I said, at PrizePicks. The best part about Sleewa's college basketball videos is how much you learn about these games and just about college basketball in general. I really don't follow college basketball at all, so I love watching his videos and just learning a lot about the teams and their players and listening to them break down and analyze each team too. It's really helpful just from a knowledge standpoint, but also if you're trying to make money too. With that, we have one more promotional administrative item. As always, sign up for PrizePicks. It's great. It's available even if you're not in states with legalized sports gambling because it's a daily fantasy app. The big ones that we're getting a lot of signups on are people in Florida, Texas, and California, as they're deprived of apps like FanDuel and DraftKings. If you use our promo code PROPICKS, PrizePicks will match your deposit up to $100. So they're basically just giving you free money. If you're on the fence about signing up for PrizePicks, do it. Use our code. Put in some money. Bet the money that PrizePicks is matching. See if you like it or not. And if you don't, you can always pull your money out and not take a loss at all. So it's worth trying out because of the fact they're just giving you free money to test out their site when you use our code PROPICKS. And here's a slight example. The thing we like about PrizePicks as well is that in addition to like power plays, which is just a traditional parlay, you have the ability to opt in for the flex play, which basically says if every single leg of your parlay hits except one, they're still going to pay you back. And the payouts vary versus how many legs you have in the entry. And here we're only showing a 2-leg parlay, but if you get a 5-leg parlay and 4 to 5 hits, you're still getting paid out like 3 times your money. So it's a great built-in promo in the app. Again, that's the code PROPICKS. Sign up to get your deposit matched. With that, we'll step up with the games. First one we like here, the Rams on the road against the 49ers. Rams coming off a tough loss and frankly an embarrassing loss against the Titans, and the Niners coming off a bye week.
Played the Bears the week before.
Yeah, coming off a win against the Bears, and then obviously the Bears just lost to the Steelers. So we like the Rams here. Like I said, coming off the loss, I think they're going to step back up. I think the addition of Odell, he's not going to play this week except maybe sparingly in a couple of routes where they say, hey, Odell, just run a post here or something like that. But I think they're just trying to get back in their rhythm. I think they need to kind of kick in the pants. They were flying high, thinking Super Bowl. They need to come back down to earth a little bit with that loss against the Titans. I think this next week they're really going to bounce back to try to get back in the groove and get back to their identity of just run the football, playing really good defense. Von Miller should be there this week, and a huge disruptive factor, as well as that offense, especially with like Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford with the connection they have. I think it's going to be really scary. The thing I love the most about this Rams team now with that Von Miller pick is their D-line with him, Aaron Donald, and Leonard Floyd. If those three can just disrupt the quarterback and disrupt timing, that changes the entire game of football. It doesn't matter if the Niners receivers are wide open downfield. If this D-line is getting pressure on the quarterback, they're not going to be able to get the ball there. So I think D-line versus the O-line matchup is one of the most biggest disruptors in any game. I think that since the Rams have that advantage, it's going to be a very favorable game for them. What are you thinking about this game too?
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the injury report. So, Von Miller should be back, should play his first game for the Rams. There's no official ruling on that. McVay was quoted saying, I can't say whether Miller will play or not, but we're preparing as if he will. So it's kind of leaning towards he's playing.
You're not giving away You're not giving away the rest of your draft picks for this superstar
for a divisional
player.
matchup too.
Yeah, exactly. Coming off a loss, you want your best guys in there. He should be playing. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. It's not like he has to learn a whole playbook. His whole thing is get after the quarterback. It's bull rush.
Yeah.
You don't need specific plays like Odell trying to learn the offensive playbook. It's a lot different for a defensive player.
Right. And then Whitworth, this last Thursday, he did not participate, but he's another player that I do think will end up playing. He battled through injuries the week before in week 9 against the Titans, and he still played that game.
And he's their superstar left tackle, right? The guy's like 39 years old, one of the best linemen to ever do it.
He had a statement of how embarrassed he was for how they played against the Titans. I think he bounces back and plays a little bit better here week 10. And then the last thing to note was Stafford had that ankle injury, but he's off the report completely. He's healthy. He's ready to go.
Full practice and all. Yeah, I like that a lot.
As for the Niners, pretty similar, just a few guys banged up. Trent Williams, Drake Kirkpatrick, Maurice Hurst, and Jimmy Ward all did not participate in the last practice, but there's no official ruling on if they're out or not. Kind of a laundry list, but no guy too impactful. I would say the big thing here for the Niners is they are going to have George Kittle back.
Yeah,
he's a limited participant, but he's going to play on Sunday.
It'll be a big X factor in that game. If the Niners can get the run game going, which I'm not sure how well they'll be able to do against this Rams defense, but if they can get the run game going and Kittle heavily involved, then I think they have a chance. But the fact that you're going to have Jalen Ramsey, he's good for one-on-one coverage against anyone. So he probably locks down Samuel. And then you get the rest of the defense to focus in on 2 guys, like a safety and a linebacker, to focus on Kittle, stop the run. The Rams, with how good their offense is, I think, and their D-line, I keep saying, I think they'll cover here. So we like that one a lot.
Yeah, I like the Rams a lot in the NFC in general. I liked them at -4 this game. Now that you get it down to -3.5, I like it even more. I just think they bounce back after a bad loss to the Titans is my favorite team in the NFC.
I like teams coming off losses, especially good teams like the Rams. Here's one that and if you watched the Monday video, you heard me talking about this game's a trap game, and I still like the Broncos. I thought about it more, looked at the injury list, and looked at a lot of sharps for betting. And a lot of people like the Eagles, and I'm starting to come around to that. Honestly, I can't say a lot of good things about the Eagles with my eyeball test. This is more of a smart play where the Eagles are coming off a loss and the Broncos are coming off a huge win, and they're only favored by 3 points at home. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So going with the Eagles with the plus the points, I think we threw that in a teaser too, because we think it's going to be a close game. It doesn't, in my mind, if just putting my brain to it, I think the Broncos are a much better football team, especially with how good their defense is. And I think they win this game. But Vegas showing me this line tells me that, you know what, this is what they want you to think. You're actually wrong about this. The Eagles are a better football team than you appear to the eye. They had some tough losses, but this is a game and a favorable matchup for them where they think they're going to have a shot this game. I really don't love the Eagles plus 2.5, quite honestly, but when we're teasing them to 8.5, this is supposed to be a close game. And the fact that the Broncos are only favored by 2.5, you got to remember that home field advantage is a 3-point spread advantage for any team. So they're saying that this game is at a neutral site, the Eagles would actually be favored. They're saying that if they were playing this game in London, for instance, the Eagles would be a 0.5-point favorite. So the Vegas and the bookmakers are saying that the Eagles on a neutral site are a better football team. So we like them, teasing them to plus 8.5. What's going on with the injuries in this game? What'd you see?
Yeah, so the Broncos are definitely more injured, not having as many guys healthy for this game in comparison to the Eagles. And the biggest thing is Garrett Bowles, left tackle, and right tackle Bobby Massey are both going to be out. That they're down 2 starting guys on the line.
Well, that goes back to what I'm saying, how key the offensive line, defensive line matchup is. If you can dominate that line of scrimmage, especially from the defensive side, you disrupt the whole game. The run game, the pass game, everything.
I think the Eagles defensive line dominates this game, honestly.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to replace 2 starting tackles. And additionally with that, the Broncos have about 8 guys who are questionable, probably the most important one being Patrick Surtain.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to expect Fuller and Callahan to start, which isn't bad at all. But this Broncos team also traded away Von Miller after they started 3-0 and then they really fell off. And then they traded Von Miller. I think the general management kind of sees that this team's trending in the wrong direction. I think they picked up a really lucky one against the Cowboys. The Cowboys looked terrible. Did not show up to play. I'm not going to put too much interest into that game because honestly, all their games before that, I was not impressed with the Broncos, even in their wins against not as good teams.
Yeah, you were not on those. And the Cowboys too, they were coming off a bye week. They thought they were talking Super Bowl midway through this season. The second a team starts talking Super Bowl and they're playing a bad opponent at home, or on the road, they're not trying. They're not preparing the way they should be. Their heads aren't in the right spot. Like, again, kind of like I said about the Rams, the Cowboys needed that, bring back down to earth. Like, we're not all that we think we are kind of game. Yeah. So I'm not reading, like you said, I'm not reading too much in that Broncos win either.
Yeah. And then just for the Eagles, they only got 2 guys questionable, Josh Sweat and Andre Dillard, 2 important players, but they're only 2 questionable guys. The Broncos, on the other hand, already have 2 guys who are out and about 6 more questionable players. Mm-hmm. The Eagles are the much healthier team going into this matchup.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith are really starting to get that connection too. So the better passing attack, and they always get that deep ball, and of course Jalen Hurts' legs is the X factor too. I like the Eagles here when we tease them to just all they do is lose by less than a score. So I think it's gonna be a close game. So I really like that pick that we have there. Here's a game that started. I think Steelers were favored this game -9.5. It's starting to move down to 8.5 here, but we're still going to take the Lions coming off a bye week. You saw the Steelers barely squeak out a win against the Bears on Monday night in a highly controversial game where the refs, to say the least, they weren't very sharp. So they kind of kept the Steelers in that game. Probably shouldn't even won that game.
Yeah, game MVP, 120 yards in the black and white stripes.
It's a big hip check there for the win. But the Steelers, they're a mediocre football team. I think we've been talking about them since before the season started. We're not sold about the Steelers at all. Obviously, the Lions are probably one of the worst football teams in the NFL without a win. I think their record's a little bit misleading. They shouldn't have many wins in the W comp, but you can definitely put them down for a couple wins this season. They've had some pretty bad beats, and they've competed in more games than not. They've definitely gotten their fair share of blowouts too. But I think coming off the bye week against a Steelers team that isn't all that great, I think they have a chance and a good chance to cover +8.5. That's a lot of points for a very low under. There's not going to be this over is implying that there's not going to be a lot of points this game. And so if the Lions can compete, I think that with all the information they got on the Steelers this bye week, all the preparation they got, and the time to make their players healthy, I think that they can cover this 8.5, especially when you consider the Steelers are coming off a long, hard-fought game and a short week against the Bears too.
Yeah, just pretty much every single Steelers game I've watched so far this year is close. They remind me a lot of the Bears currently and a couple of years ago. Just dominant defense, and they barely score the ball on offense. Just a couple timely scores here and there, but the games are going to be close no matter what. So if you get +8.5 on the other side, you got to love that, especially if you could tease it. There's not many important injuries for this game. The biggest one is Claypool's out, but Claypool will be out for this matchup. But the Steelers have other receiving options.
They're deep at receiver for sure, and Najee Harris is pretty good, but
Najee Harris is a little banged up too. Mm-hmm. He's gonna play, but he was limited participant this week.
He's a young tough dude.
Same with Ben Roethlisberger. They're off a short week too. They played on Monday, so yeah. I like the Lions for multiple reasons here, especially with this big spread.
Yeah, and if you want my other 2 cents too, I like the over in this game. For some reason, I think the Steelers are going to put up their fair share of points just because the Lions defense is so bad. But if we think they're going to cover the spread, and even think the Lions are going to compete in the slightest, I think they put up enough points to make this over hit too. I think we're thinking the same range as the Bears game, like a 26-23 type game, like just to get over this 42.5 line. But that's not on our official card, just one that we're leaning towards. Now, our last game that we're going to talk about that's on our card, we got, like I said, the Falcons coming off a surprising win against the Saints, and then the Cowboys coming off a surprising loss, a devastating loss against the Broncos, where they got just absolutely slapped around the whole game. The Cowboys started off the season covering a lot of their games.
And so covered their first 7.
Yeah, covered their first 7. So the public has just been hammering them, and I think that's inflating their line a little bit. And that's why we're taking the Falcons here. A lot of people have been on the Cowboys for the whole season since they started out so hot. We think they're finally reverting to the mean, coming back down to earth a little bit. And the Falcons are starting to step up, especially with the emergence of Kyle Pitts in that offense, even without who's a wide receiver from Alabama, Calvin Ridley. Thank you. Even without him, their offense is starting to look better and better, especially as they realize how to utilize Cordell Patterson, who's such a Swiss Army knife in that offense. Someone finally figured out how to use them correctly, because the Bears weren't going to be able to do that. But like I said, Falcons are on the upswing right now. Cowboys are on the downswing. A lot of the public has been on the Cowboys for the last handful of weeks, and we think that while the Cowboys are going to win this game, I believe, and bounce back, I don't think they're going to do it by 2 scores, and so that's
Right.
why we like the Falcons here.
Yeah. The first, just to start, if the Falcons are a very sneaky 4-4, they have something to play for at this time of
Yeah,
year.
they
So
do.
if they
Yeah.
get hot, they could be a playoff wild card team. It's not outside their reach. I'm not saying they're a great football team, but if you give them 9 points, I'd like them against a lot of teams here. Just a couple big notes for both teams on the injury side of the ball. Kendall Sheffield will be out for the Falcons, one of their better corners. So that definitely favors the Cowboys in this matchup. Is such a pass-heavy offense,
Mhm.
but there's still some big injuries. Tyron Smith is going to be out at tackle for
Yep.
the Cowboys, as well as Randy Gregory, who
Oh, I
was
saw that.
putting together an insane year.
He's their leading pass rusher. He's their leading sack leader, or their sack leader. I think
Yeah,
tackle for loss. A lot of things. He's a big piece in that defense.
yeah,
Actually,
he was a
that's a big
big piece
injury.
for that defense to turn around and actually be pretty good this year. And especially with a guy like Matt Ryan, who can't move that well in the pocket, having Randy Gregory in this game would have been huge for the Cowboys.
And that's also losing DeMarcus Lawrence to season injury
Yeah,
a while ago. So they're down their 2 biggest pass rushers. Michael Parsons stepped in there and is doing a great job in that defense, and he can do just about everything. But losing their 2 biggest pass rushers to the season
against an
so
immobile
far,
quarterback too.
yeah, it's not like Matt Ryan is known for his mobility at all. And one last thing I'll say about the Falcons, they have a sneaky defense. I don't want to say sneaky good, but in past years, the Falcons have had some of the worst defense in the NFL. It's not the same as Falcons defense. Dan Smith's out. He's doing better for the Cowboys actually here, but with the personnel they have and the new schemes they've had, the Falcons defense has had a little more success and not the Swiss cheese defense that people are used to seeing. So I think they're going to compete a little bit on both sides of the football, keep this game close enough where this +9 is going to hit. I think we tease this anyways.
Yeah, yeah,
So I love that too. I mean, I think I could see the Cowboys win this game by 10. So just to be safe, we're gonna throw this
two
in a teaser too.
touchdowns.
Yeah, they're gonna
Love
yeah,
it.
you lose by 2 scores, you're still in this game with the tease. So take a look at our full card after all the games that we mentioned. One that we didn't that we like for money line is the Patriots. New news that we got is Nick Chubb is not playing
Yeah,
after being on a COVID list. I talked about this game in the Monday video too. I said Nick Chubb is playing. I like the Browns here just because these are 2 teams that play a very similar style of football, ground and pound in the trenches type football, relying on the run game, only passing, especially deep down the field when you need to. They're going to play it's going to be a very hard fought game and one that I'm really looking forward to watching. But with the absence of Nick Chubb, it just swings it in a basically pick 'em game to the Patriots side, as I think they're going to do their best to limit the run game for the Browns and make Baker Mayfield throw the ball downfield a lot, which is not that style of offense the Browns are comfortable with. So we'll see where that goes. Patriots money line. We got the Lions +8.5 for a unit and the Rams -3.5. We talked about those games. And the games we threw in the teaser. The Eagles we talked about threw them in the teaser. I like the Saints a lot in the teaser here for the same reason we're throwing the Eagles there. The Saints just lost to the Falcons by a good amount, playing a team, the Titans, that just destroyed the Rams at home. A lot of people are thinking, the Titans are a way better football team than the Rams, which they are, and they should be hammering that side. But the line has actually moved in favor towards the Saints. I'm moving, I think, +3.5 to +3. So that's telling me too the same thing about the Eagles. If this game was at a neutral site, it'd be a picking game. So the Saints, they're saying match up very well against the Titans here. People remember that the Titans only scored 14 legitimate points of offense against the Rams defense, who, while they are pretty good, not as good as the Saints defense, especially stopping the run. Like I mentioned, 14 legitimate points. That's because one of their touchdowns for the Titans was a pick six. One of them possessions they had started at the opponent 4-yard line, so basically a pick six. So this offense without Derrick Henry, still looking for that identity, still looking to put up points. I think the Saints with their playmakers on defense, with like guys like Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore, are going to give that offense a lot of trouble. And I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. But just to cover ourselves a little bit, throw them at +9 with the Eagles in the teaser, and the lock is the Falcons and the Lions. 2 teams that all they got to do is not lose by 14 points, and that lock's going to hit.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah.
Brief
So
analysis.
here personally, I would definitely take the lock of the week, getting 2 teams that I like to cover their original spreads and get them to just not lose by more than 2 touchdowns. You got to love those lines right there. But
those are good numbers to have when you're on the other side of 14 as a underdog. Like I said, just don't lose by 14 common scores to lose by like 13 and 14. We're covering both those, so I like that a lot.
Just a quick note on the Eagles Saints logic here. I saw a tweet last night. We didn't include it in the PowerPoint, but there's a betting trend that a lot of people have been using, and it's essentially just if your team lost or if a team lost against the spread the week before and they're playing a team that won against the spread the week before, if you bet on the team that just lost against the spread, they're about 36-11 or 36-14. So they're hitting an extremely high clip. This kind of explains these Eagles and Saints picks just a little bit. And then my other last point really about this whole thing is I love the Patriots money line. Nick Chubb, if not the best running back in the NFL.
My vote.
Yeah. So Patriots have it a little bit easier in the run defense now with just Kareem Hunt. But the Patriots pass defense has always been great. And Baker's been battling a shoulder injury all year.
Yep.
Just got rid of Odell. Not that they were a
It's
good
almost like
duo by any means.
It might be losing some dead weight there.
Yeah.
But I agree with you.
I just don't think Baker's been very efficient lately. He's still battling that injury. And he's just been quoted numerous times. The trainers don't decide when he plays. He just decides no matter how hurt he is. I don't know if that means anything, but yeah. I just don't necessarily trust Baker to take on more of this offense when the run game was so dominant with Chubb.
And here's one bet that you only get because you watched this point in the video. Not an Eric card, but I really like actually the under in this Patriots game. Like I said, two teams are going to run the ball a lot, but these are two teams. One of these two teams is going to have the AFC wildcard spot, one of those wildcard spots. This is a playoff-like atmosphere in Foxborough, and it's going to be a very hard-fought game, a lot of running, a lot of probably field position battle. I think that this is one of those old-school AFC North style ground and pound games where you're not going to get a lot of points, and they're going to be really hard to come by. I like the under in this game too. So Patriots money line, especially because they have the home field advantage without Chubb, but I think the under because it's such a tough game too.
Yep. So that wraps up our week 10 card. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, let us know in the comments what you guys are taking, if you're tailing or fading us. And we hope you guys have some good luck this week. We want to keep it rolling from the last.
Yeah, let's hope for another clean sweep. Let's see if we can all keep making some money here in week 10. Good luck, everyone.